Hey gang, here's a video that I have been meaning to make for, just shy of like 10 years now, no big deal. Exciting! Also, I gotta shout this out. Thank you so much, Michael. Look at this amazing Hattie bracelet I got. Let's go! I want to start with a little bit of a mystery, a little cliffhanger. 13 years ago, yikes! Does not feel good saying that. Me and the people in the Growtopia community, but especially me and my cousin Noah, who introduced me to Growtopia and Pixel Worlds, posed this sort of question. And it's a question that really this entire video hinges on, and we'll get to that about at the end. Quickly, for the people who are not watching the videos, the Epoch videos, I'm not going to force you to. In fact, I actually explicitly told you to unsubscribe, in fact, if you don't want to watch it. But like, 50 views? Yo, I have 3,000 subscribers. You already know that's gotta hit my ego. I get into it in this video too, but you know what? Making stuff for my friends beats all of that. If I didn't have any friends and I was uploading like Fortnite videos to get 30 views, that would piss me off. But the fact that I'm making stuff for my friends makes the whole journey like so much more fun. So I really don't care. And you know what? If I post consistently for even just like a couple months, the number will rise. You know, people will find me. I'm not that worried about it. Question is, can I get that consistency? Let's talk about that. So let's start in the Pixel Worlds community. I adored moderators in Growtopia, but I never thought I'd ever have a chance of being a moderator in that game, and I didn't care. But in Pixel Worlds, it's a small game, so you can be a big fish in a smaller pond. Here's the thing though. I was very much more of a YouTuber angle, and because of that, I kind of sacrificed some of my trust with the dev team for my own morals of a storytelling. Every news video I would ever make for Pixel Worlds in 2020 had some sort of potential drama element of it, or like, I'm talking about price ranges and like explicitly talking about the price of an item this week, or like, oh, someone's hoarding the item, it's really going to gain a lot of cost. And they never featured my videos, even though they were news-oriented and covering the streams that the community manager did and stuff, because they didn't want to promote like potentially misinformation about the game's economy. But I stuck true to my morals that I have as a YouTuber, and I wanted to include that in the news because I think it's very important in that context of that situation. People hoard in secret so they can fuck over everybody. So I wanted to make sure that I was explicitly telling people, hey, this is happening. Screw you, hoarders. You know what I'm saying? When I applied for mod in Pixel World, I did it 3 times. One, I did, I think, all the way back in 2017 or 2018 when the Discord was being fully launched. And I did it then because I was pretty trusted back then. Like, this is way before bipolar disorder. I had some consistency in my life. The problem was I was too young. When I applied in 2017 or 2018, I was like 13, and I think you need to be at least 15 to be mod. So I applied anyway. I didn't get any hear back. You don't get hear back on moderator applications unless you're selected. And then, a couple years pass, I get to 15, and there's a mod application that happens to go out that year. So I apply, and I try to do the best, most moral judgments in the evaluation, but I think a lot of Pixel World's moderation is like Publix. You can't get in if you don't know anyone. So, again, fast forwarding a little bit in the future, I get a part of Clash, which is basically the clan in the game with all of the moderators and game developers. It's the biggest clan with all of those sorts of people in it, and I was in it 4 years. And I thought I'd build a trusted, repertoire with my videos, but around that time, I'd been doing Pixel World's news, and, I was spreading information that's not necessarily adhering to the game. And the real problem started in 2021. I did apply, I think in 2022 or 23. Back then I was more focused on like getting the influencer role, which turned into the creator role. Yeah, after I tried to go for that creator role, I was never getting mod. All I would do on my channel for like a week or two is complain about how awful the creator system is and how awful every aspect of the game was. Just because I wasn't getting creator, I was an egotistical, greedy little bastard, I'll tell you that. And so let's get into my Epoch reference to this. Okay, so I have never like applied to be an Epoch staff or officer or anything like that. That's not really a thing that happens in Epoch. Epoch, long time ago in season 1, used to be an official, insert college club, but slowly it made more sense for the club to be independent, although still promoting a lot at UCF, and that helped it grow a lot more than it being tied to a UCF club. But that means that there's no like formal applications every year, because normally in a college club, the officers of a club have to like really promote the idea of new officers coming into the club every year. And in fact, you can't even be the same role in a club. You can't be president twice in the same row. You have to switch roles. Or like, you can't be more than 2 years in the same role. So they didn't have this problem. Kate the DM and Kess the vice president have been there for a couple years now, even more than that really. Well, yeah, actually starting in March, probably a couple years since then. And so they don't actually have to change their roles, which is great because they're both great at what they do. They don't have to like surrender their roles to some rando who's like, I like roleplay. I've always liked the idea of being an officer because it's cool to be recognized for community stuff you do or role playing, or in my case, I really want to show that I could be a valuable staff member by doing YouTube stuff. Technically, this video is a part of that, but as you'll see in this video, I want to make it clear this is not some weird grab for, oh, let me be staff, let me be a moderator in your sandbox MMO. This is just like a classic story time video that I need to vent about. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, I've kind of been thinking about this sort of thing for like 13 years now. It started in 2013 with Growtopia, this discussion. So, now you kind of get my background. A few times applied to Pixel Worlds, never really got the consistency that I need to have trust with them. And also Epoch, which kind of the same situation there. I was a bit of a bitch complainer in Season 1. I got a little bit less trust going into Season 2 and 3. And then I feel like I'm at the highest trust level I could be in Season 4. But again, I don't care. I'm just saying. So why did I make this video? So what if you applied a couple times and didn't get in? Who cares? Here's the thing, I would have loved and have loved the idea of modding or staffing for these games, right? But no matter my level of involvement or trust that I get with people in certain instances, self-report, I genuinely think giving me power is a huge mistake, and I'll explain why. Gotta keep it down because my sisters are coming back from track and they are extremely exhausted and will be sleeping. So here's another aspect of it. I don't attempt to imagine what the Pixel Worlds dev team was like looking at my application and thinking like, oh, can we trust this person? Oh, they've had a bad reputation. I don't imagine to think of the Epoch team like seeing me as a community member and thinking, oh, could this person ever be staff someday? Could they ever have the trust? I just think from my perspective, there are times where I thought I could be. And there's times I'm reflecting now and I think maybe it's just not a great idea. Maybe someday, and here's a big thing, so I have bipolar disorder, and that means I can go from the shittiest mood to the highest high drug mood of all time without any drugs. It's very complicated, and it has screwed me over a lot of times in trying to get some sort of role within a community, or really do the best I can to control myself and have self-control. Here's the big question I was referring to in the beginning of the video, and I'll leave you with this, and we'll go into it a little bit. So, back in the Growtopia community around 2013, there was this question, again, it was basically brought up by my friend, but it was big in the community too, and even YouTubers would drop this at the end of their videos as like a little think about. So to start, moderators were gods to us players in Growtopia and Pixel Worlds, and you know, I mean, staff are kind of pretty impressive in Epoch too. Like, you can look up to a staff member, any of them. Maybe not Bobby, but because of that, their roles were really sought after and idolized, right? Because of this, you know, even back in the MMOs, there's a worlds-based system. You enter a world, there's like 50 people that can show up in there or whatever. In Growtopia's case, 100. And you can like message everyone else in the game to say, hey, come to my world. A moderator would enter a world, and all of the players in the world would immediately gather and be like, oh my god, we got a global message. We got to send it to everybody else that a moderator's here. And people would come flooding in. And the funny side effect of that is that you could just do that if there's not a moderator, and you'd still get like 20, 30 people who are like, oh, hey, what's up? Hi. Where's the moderator? Where are they? And then they check the player list and them not be there. And then, you know, in Pixel World, in Growtopia, that's just a thing you could pull off. But in Pixel Worlds, there's a rating board system. So if you pulled that, you would get like a 1-2 star rating. So I wouldn't recommend that. But here's an interesting thing to think about. You know who else was idolized in those communities? YouTuber. Maybe not Epoch. Don't give a shit about YouTubers at Epoch. But in those MMO communities, YouTubers were idolized. So here's the question. Would you rather successfully be a mod or a YouTuber? And that's kind of the crux of this video. And here's why. It's safe to say that I was always in the YouTuber boat. And here's the thing. No matter how inconsistent my life gets, no matter how things are put in my way or I just can't solve self-control in myself, YouTube and content creation has always been there for me. No matter how the steel beam gets bent, I can always bounce back with YouTube. I can always rely on that. Trying a different format or just throwing out the manic ideas I get and then pursuing them even while I'm depressed. It's just like this amazing tool I've had to bounce back from different situations or even vent or have any of these brilliant experiences. And that really matters a whole lot to me. And the moral of this video, this is another moral video, just like the online friends thing. What I mean to say by this video, if anything, is like, hey, I may never be consistent enough to have a place of power, an officer, or a moderator, or anything like that, where I have to get, a great amount of honest trust from people. But I don't know if I ever need it. I don't know if I care enough to have to worry about that sort of thing, because I have YouTube. I have being able to make cool stuff and share it with those that I love. And I think that's what really matters for me personally, going into the future with my own channel, with my own skills, with my own personality. I think that's what really matters a whole lot to me. And yeah, maybe I'm getting a 10th, a 20th of the views I got 6 years ago as a little kid. But you know what? If I'm making it even just for one person, one friend, family member that I really know in real life, what does it matter? For the past couple of years, I've been giving people like songs or little montage videos or whatever as presents, to my parents and stuff like that. And I spend hours doing that, but it doesn't matter if it's only seen by one person. I made my mom a song, and I was gonna make it into a video, which I kind of did, but like the first time it was ever anything, I just performed it in front of her. And that's the big thing for me. What I've really figured out is more than pandering to any audience, I want to make stuff for myself, and making stuff for myself means making stuff that other people that I know and love would enjoy. That's kind of the most selfish thing I do. I sometimes make crappy stuff just for me though, for real, but yeah, I really adore making that sort of stuff. So, you know what? If you have thought about this at all while watching this video, I want to know, from your perspective, would you rather be a mod or a YouTuber? Would you rather be on the media team or like a great staff or officer in Epoch someday? I'm endlessly curious. And please, please, do not take this the wrong way. This is not some, again, weird grab for power or like trying to beg people to give me any sort of specific thing. This is another story time video where I'm just trying to be honest and give you my background. And yeah, you know what? For me, the answer is YouTuber. I choose that any day. Thanks.